You're working on an assignment. Your laptop's open, your food's beside you still warm. You're on a video call with your special someone, both of you quiet but together. Feels good, right? You're getting things done. You're productive. Maybe even ahead of the curve. You even throw in a podcast playing softly in the background because why not? You're learning while working, while eating, while bonding. This feels like the future. Efficiency. Optimization. Pure high-performance mode. You could almost hear motivational music playing under it all. But then something weird happens. You're halfway through your assignment and you have no idea what you just wrote. You rewind the podcast for the third time because it didn't stick. And your partner's like, wait, what did I just say? And you're like, I was listening. But you weren't. Not really. Your food's cold now. You're just stuck. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain is not doing three things at once. It's switching. Over and over again. Fast. But not fast enough. Think of your brain like an old-school browser. Every tab open is another drain. But switching tabs? That's where the real cost is. Studies show that every time your attention jumps, it takes your brain about 23 minutes to fully focus again. 23 minutes. That's almost a sitcom episode. And you do this all day. And sure, you feel productive while doing it because your brain rewards the switch. It's like a dopamine slot machine. Every time you reply to a message mid-task or check a notification, boom, instant hit. It feels like progress. But it's just motion, not momentum. Even your memory suffers. When you multitask, your brain doesn't file information properly. It scatters. And so you forget, reread, redo. You feel drained by the end, not because you did too much, but because your brain had to pick up and drop everything too many times. But here's the twist, it's not just your memory or your efficiency that's affected. It's deeper, more personal. What if I told you multitasking might be slowly shifting who you are when you work, how deeply you think, and even how your relationships feel? Let's go there. Because the truth is, multitasking doesn't just mess with your work, it messes with your mind. See, when you constantly bounce between tasks, you're training your brain to prefer distraction. That's not poetic, it's literally how neural pathways form. The more you reward split attention, the harder it becomes to focus on just one thing. It's like telling your brain, hey, don't sit still, juggle. So over time, your baseline becomes noise. Silence feels uncomfortable. Stillness feels like laziness. And this rewiring? It creeps into how you think. Complex thinking, the kind where you really chew on a problem, reflect on it, twist it around in your head like a Rubik's Cube that requires stillness. But if your brain's now conditioned to jump, to scroll, to swap, you don't stay with thoughts long enough for them to go deep. They skim. They bounce. They never stick. Emotionally, it hits too. That video call with your partner while doing 3 other things? On paper, it looks like quality time. In reality, you were only half there. And they probably felt it even if they didn't say it. Because humans are sensitive to presence. It's in the pauses, the silences, the subtle rhythm of attention. And multitasking shatters that rhythm. Physically? There's a cost there too. Your cortisol, stress hormone, rises every time you switch tasks. Not because you're overwhelmed, but because your brain's constantly trying to catch up, refocus, reprioritize. You don't notice it at first. But that low-key buzzing in your chest? The weird feeling that you're always behind even when you're ahead? That's it. That's the toll. And even when you try to relax, your brain doesn't power down. It's still scanning for the next thing to react to. Rest becomes hard. Real rest, I mean. The kind where you do nothing and feel fine about it. You start checking your phone in moments that used to be silent, the elevator, the shower, a walk. Because your brain now expects stimulation like a dog expects treats. And here's the part that stings, we celebrate this. We admire people who juggle. We think being always on is impressive. But there's a hidden cost that no one talks about. The slow erosion of deep work, of real connection, of mental clarity. And yet, somehow multitasking feels so right. So necessary. So efficient. So how come it's wrecking our productivity then? What's the trick? What's the hidden mechanism that makes multitasking seem smart, but secretly wreck your brain's ability to perform? That's where it gets interesting. So here's the trick. Multitasking doesn't feel broken because your brain likes it, at least in the short term. It gives you the illusion of progress without the actual weight of depth. Every time you tick off a small task or skim through a second of a podcast or type while talking, your brain throws a mini celebration. Dopamine. That tiny, sneaky neurotransmitter that makes scrolling addictive and half-working feel satisfying. But your brain isn't celebrating success. It's celebrating novelty. And that's the dangerous part. You start craving the switching itself more than the work. You open 5 tabs not because you need them, but because your brain's looking for anything to feel busy. And it rewards that busyness even if it's completely hollow. That's why when you try to sit down and focus on just one thing, it feels wrong, boring, unproductive even. Like your body's in withdrawal. Because it kind of is. Your reward system has been trained for multitasking hits, not deep work. So now, the stuff that actually moves you forward feels slow, heavy. And that's where the trap snaps shut. You feel overwhelmed, so you multitask to catch up. But multitasking makes you slower and less effective, which makes you feel more behind. So you multitask even harder. It's not a ladder, it's a treadmill. One you don't even realize you're on. And this doesn't just affect what you get done. It affects how you show up. When you multitask, your ability to detect emotions drops. Your recall of conversations gets fuzzy. You miss nuance. Your brain literally filters out anything not directly tied to the current switch, and in social situations, that means missing the little things. The raised eyebrow. The pause before a word. The change in tone that says more than the words themselves. You stop seeing things fully. You just start scanning life. Not absorbing it. Not experiencing it. But here's the kicker, and the science backs this up: people who think they're good at multitasking, they're usually the worst at it. Study after study shows that the more confident you are about your multitasking skills, the more likely you're making mistakes, missing details, and performing poorly across the board. It's like driving while texting and bragging that you've never crashed while missing every red light. So what now? If multitasking feels good, but it's ruining focus, connection, and performance, are we just stuck in this loop? Do we have to pick between being fast or being good? Between being connected and being present? Maybe not. Maybe the fix isn't to slow down, but to reset the way we think about productivity entirely. The fix isn't about doing less. It's about doing one thing with intention. That's what your brain is built for. Single tasking activates deeper parts of your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for problem solving, emotional regulation, and long-term planning. When you're fully immersed, time stretches. Ideas connect. You're not faster, but you're better. And ironically, that often ends up being faster anyway. Instead of juggling 5 shallow tasks, imagine doing one thing so well that you remember it. You feel it. You finish it with energy to spare instead of that weird brain fog you get after multitasking all day. Deep work doesn't just make you more productive, it gives you back your mind. It also reconnects you to people. Being fully present in a conversation even for 10 minutes is more nourishing than hours of half attention. It feels rare. And in today's world, rare things stand out. They matter. This doesn't mean becoming a monk. It means picking your moments. You don't need to throw your phone away or meditate for 6 hours. Just start with this. The next time you're doing something important, just do that. Silence the tabs. Put the phone upside down. Let your brain breathe. You'll be shocked how quiet things get. And in that quiet, you'll hear your thoughts again. You'll think longer, deeper, freer. Not to romanticize it, but when's the last time you felt smart while working? Not just busy. Actually smart. That's what multitasking robs you of. And that's what you can take back. So maybe it's not about working harder or longer. Maybe it's just about being where you are when you're there. The real question is, if doing one thing at a time makes you better at everything, why does it still feel so hard to do? Maybe that's the only task worth mastering.